We have been told a lie our entire lives. From the moment we start school, we hear the same advice: if you want to succeed, you just need to work harder. Grind while they sleep. Don't stop until you drop. But let me ask you a painful question. If hard work was the only secret to wealth and success, why are the people working 3 jobs often the poorest? And why do some people seem to work half as much as you, but they make 10 times more money? The truth is, working harder is often a sign that you have failed to think smarter. Let me tell you a story about a farmer named Thomas. Thomas was a good man who believed that suffering was noble. In his mind, the more he suffered, the more he deserved success. He woke up at 4 a.m. every single day, long before the sun came up. He watered his crops by hand, carrying heavy buckets back and forth, refusing to use modern tools because his father and grandfather didn't use them. He worked until sunset. His hands were calloused and bleeding, his back was constantly aching, and he was too exhausted to even eat dinner with his wife. But next door lived a man named Richard. Richard was the same age as Thomas and had the same size farm. But Richard's life was completely different. He started work at 8 a.m. and finished by 2 p.m., working only 6 hours a day. He spent his evenings reading books, relaxing on his porch, and playing with his children. Thomas used to look at him with judgment, thinking Richard was lazy. Yet, there was one fact that haunted Thomas every night. Richard's farm produced double the harvest of Thomas's farm. This drove Thomas crazy. He couldn't understand it. So, when a brutal drought hit the valley and water became scarce, Thomas did the only thing he knew how to do. He decided to work even harder. He started waking up at 3 a.m. instead of 4 a.m. He carried 50 buckets of water a day manually from a distant well. He pushed his body to the limit, repeating to himself, "Hard work never fails." But the body has a limit. On the 15th day of this grueling routine, Thomas was carrying his 40th bucket when his vision blurred. His legs gave out. He collapsed in the dirt, gasping for air. He woke up in a hospital bed, with 4 fluids dripping into his arm. The doctor looked him in the face and said, "Mr. Thomas, you are moments away from a heart attack. If you continue like this, you won't see the next harvest because you will be dead." Lying there, defeated, tears filled his eyes. He whispered to his wife, "I did everything right. I worked harder than anyone in the valley. Why am I failing?" When Thomas finally recovered, he swallowed his pride. He walked over to Richard's house and knocked on the door. He asked him, "Richard, I need to understand. I work twice your hours. I pour blood and sweat into my land. But you work half the time and get double the results. How?" Richard smiled gently and took Thomas to his tool shed. He picked up 2 axes. One was old, rusty, and dull. The other was razor-sharp and gleaming. Richard said, "Thomas, imagine 2 woodcutters competing to chop down a massive tree. The first guy swings his axe for 12 hours straight. He never stops, he never rests. He sweats, he grinds, but because his axe is dull, he barely makes a dent in the tree. The second guy swings for only 6 hours. But he spends the other 6 hours sitting down and sharpening his axe." Richard looked Thomas deep in the eyes and said, "My friend, you are the first woodcutter. You have been swinging a dull axe for years, wondering why your hands are bleeding but the tree isn't falling." Richard then walked Thomas through his farm and taught him the 3 rules that changed his life. Rule number 1, systems over sweat. Richard said, "You carry water in buckets. That is hard labor. I built a drip irrigation system." Richard explained that he spent time installing pipes that deliver water directly to the roots automatically. While Thomas was running back and forth, Richard's system was working for him, even while he slept. The lesson is simple. Don't use brute force when you can build a system. Rule number 2, focus over hustle. Richard pointed out that Thomas was trying to grow 5 different crops, spreading his attention thin. Richard only grew 2 crops that were perfectly water efficient for their soil. He said, "I master 2 things. You struggle with 5. Mastery in a few areas beats mediocrity in many." Rule number 3, rest is strategy. Richard said, "I sleep 8 hours a night so my brain is fresh. You are so tired that you make mistakes." He explained that a tired mind makes expensive errors that cost time to fix. Rest is not the opposite of work. It is part of the work. Thomas went home that evening with a new mindset. For the first time, he didn't rush to the fields. He sat down with a notebook. He stopped grinding and started planning. He sold his old tools and invested in an irrigation system. He stopped trying to do everything and focused only on the most profitable crops. 6 months later, the harvest came. Thomas worked half the hours he used to. He was healthy, he was happy, and he had time for his family. But the most amazing part was that his farm produced 40% more than his best year ever. So, what is the moral of this story? We live in a culture that confuses motion with progress. We think that being busy means being productive. But Thomas taught us that hard work without strategy is just suffering. Success doesn't go to the person who sweats the most. It goes to the person who stops to sharpen their axe. So this week, I want you to look at your work. Ask yourself, are you carrying buckets? Or are you building a pipeline? Are you swinging a dull axe? It is time to stop, step back, and sharpen your axe. Work smart, not just hard.